Welcome to the home of Troy & Sons, Climax and Blonde Whiskey.
Back with a remarkable story behind one family's thriving business. It all started because of two young boys and their battle with a rare disorder. NBC's Harry Smith has this story. Harry, good morning. Good to see you.
Great to be here. I get to meet a lot of interesting people as I wander around the country. Some surprise me, some inspire me. Troy Ball did both, and then some.
Here's the big bump, Colton.
The Ball family sets out for an afternoon stroll in Asheville, North Carolina. Troy and her husband Charlie moved here from Texas 10 years ago to save the lives of their oldest boys, Marshall and Colton. In Texas, their frail constitutions were constantly compromised by the heavy pollen.
Marshall was rushed to a hospital and stopped breathing in an ambulance the year before we moved here. And that was kind of the turning point for us.
This is as healthy as they've ever been.
Life in the cool, clean air of the Appalachians has agreed with this family, including their youngest, Luke. It's also provided a unique business opportunity.
Doesn't it smell good?
It's like grits.
It is. It's exactly grits, right.
Troy Ball makes moonshine. You heard that right, corn liquor.
There you go. This is whiskey. You can put your finger right in there and smell it.
Oh, it smells like whiskey.
And that's Hearts. Now that's Hearts.
This is the good stuff.
That's the good stuff.
Troy got the idea of making moonshine because when they first arrived in Asheville, she'd get mason jars full of the stuff as housewarming presents. Soon, Troy was heading back into the hollers to find out for herself how it was done.
Came home one day and with the pressure cooker and said to my husband, I need you to help me convert this to a still. And he said, you're nuts. I'm not going to do that.
That little pressure cooker turned into this, a thriving distillery that makes the real Mountain Dew.
Just take a little sip. There you go.
Wow.
The key ingredient to Troy's whiskey, Crooked Creek corn, grown for generations by farmer John McIntyre's family.
This is not genetically modified, of course, and we're proud to say that.
Yeah. This is old school corn.
Call it moonshine for the masses.
You know, once you take a first sip, you're kind of prone to want to take a second.
Plenty of people here thought she might be crazy, but Troy believed if she could overcome the myriad obstacles to keeping her sons healthy, she could probably do almost anything. Thus, on every label it says, Troy and Sons.
I spent 24 hours a day for about 18 years taking care of the boys. It was my job to keep them alive. And so when it came time to finally have a moment to develop a business, this was my way of honoring them and making a statement about our lives.
A statement that could double as a recipe, that life, or even moonshine, is pretty much what you make of it.
Troy and Charlie, some of the most impressive people I have ever met.
You know what I'm impressed by? Mm-hmm. You were still standing by the end of that piece when you had 2 shots of that moonshine.
But you didn't see the tape. And for some distant future, we brought one of these in case people on the staff want to figure out what that's all
Don't
about.
encourage that behavior.
That's right.
I'll take that for this fall.
There you have it.
Harry, thank you so much. What a great story.
Now for some behind the scenes at the distillery.
What is in here?
This is our corn mash that we're cooking. This is how we start making whiskey, right? And so what we do is we fill this mash tank up with water that then gets superheated to about 180 degrees. And Carl this morning loaded it with our corn, our ground corn, and it has a big agitator blade inside. So the mash stays blended up, and we add some enzymes that help to convert the starches to fermentable sugars. Doesn't it smell good?
It's like grits.
It is. It's exactly grits, right? And so it's just in this. We're about maybe halfway through the process,
Right.
And so in a few more hours, we'll be ready to transfer this over to the fermentation tanks.
So basically, you just made a great big pile of grits.
Yeah.
And you're going to turn it
Don't
into
you?
into booze.
Yes, and don't you think it's natural for a woman to be doing this? Right? Yeah, that's all that it. I mean, basically, grain, water, and yeast.
There you have it.
Yeah.
Who knew it was so simple?
It's been pretty simple. This is an hour at high temperature,
Right.
an hour at medium temperature,
Right.
drop another hour. So it's been about 4 hours probably.
And then you move it into these guys.
Yes. And then it's going to go into these fermentation tanks for roughly 7 days.
7 days.
Uh-huh.
After 7 days in there, where does it go?
Then after that, we're going to pump from here up to the still. And
this bad boy
this
right
is,
here.
Yeah, this is our 5,000 liter still. My first still was 5 gallons, and now I'm up to 5,000 liters. It's been a process. But anyway,
where do you buy something like this?
This is from Germany. It's the largest German still that's been imported into America. So we're really we love this still. It allows us to tweak the whiskeys and moonshines and make just what we think is perfect moonshine.
How long does the moonshine stay in here?
We put the mash in here, and then we immediately start heating up this tank. So this is heated with a boiler, and in about 45 minutes we're producing our heads off the still.
Right.
So what happens is the vapor goes up into the helmet, and early on in the distillation, at the beginning, all the natural toxins boil off at lower temperatures. That's why the heads come off at the beginning. So the vapor will come across, and it's routed down to the bottom of the column, and it works its way up the column, and it's redistilling on each one of those plates. So basically, you're redistilling the whiskey as it goes up, and it comes down, and it goes to the bottom of the second column and all the way up again. And
This is some serious chemistry set. So what's coming out of here now?
This is the whiskey coming out of here. You got to smell it.
Yeah.
Isn't it delicious?
Right.
I love it. It's like, I keep thinking we should make a perfume.
It's sweet. It's sweet.
That's just the corn. That's that beautiful, white corn we use.
Wow.
Isn't it wonderful?
So this is the very, very best?
Yes, this is the hearts of the run.
The hearts of the run.
Yeah.
But now what they call the stuff on the other side,
The heads.
heads and the tails?
And the tails.
Right.
Right.
So,
This is a sample of the heads
right.
from earlier. Let's get you to smell this, and you'll understand why.
Oh, man.
Isn't it terrible?
Oh, it's like turpentine.
Yeah. It's like rubbing alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Not good.
so I don't want this in my whiskey products.
Right.
The old men who were making moonshine, the guys who were making moonshine to keep for themselves,
Yeah.
to drink for themselves and not to sell down the road,
Right.
they threw this out. They knew that this was bad.
Daddy's house, Mama's house. Daddy's car, Mama's car. Daddy's cooking, Mama's cooking. Daddy's moonshine, Mama's moonshine. Troy & Son, the world's finest moonshine, made by the Moonshine Mama. Twice as nice and worth the price.
Thanks for visiting. Y'all come back.